At Jump Fest 2025, it was announced that Dragon Ball Super will return with a special story in one-shot format written by Toyotaro on February 20th. And as we know, it has already been released. The official site has already confirmed that the wait will not be long. Dragon Ball Super fans now have reasons to celebrate, as the manga has been confirmed to return from its hiatus. And he also said that he has many drawings of future villains. So we will finally have the anime's return, and I can prove it. But not before you subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the bell. With the release of a new volume in Japan, Toyotaro commented in an interview with the official Dragon Ball site that he has already drawn the spine arts of several future volumes, which join together to form a large image. He stated, quote, "By the way, I have already drawn the characters that will come after that, so I will do my best to show them to everyone soon." End quote. Recent successes in the anime world have recently returned to the screens. Like One Piece, for example. After the success that Solo Leveling was, several animes are set to return later this year. And we Dragon Ball fans are waiting for news about our favorite anime, about its return, the sagas, and everything that involves this world. And today we will bring the latest news. Are you ready? I believe so. We open the video then with this big news for us. Folks, Dragon Ball Super fans now have reasons to celebrate, as the popular manga has been confirmed to return from its hiatus. The death of Akira Toriyama deeply shook the entire anime community since that tragic news. Despite this, the Dragon Ball series will continue with more exciting adventures and definitely more intense battles. With its return, fans can expect new stories and new challenges for their favorite characters. As the return approaches, excitement is growing for more high-energy action and memorable moments that made the series a fan favorite. The entire Dragon Ball franchise and anime community were hit by a major blow when Akira Toriyama, the author of Dragon Ball, passed away. This made many think the franchise had come to an end. However, that was not the case. In his most recent interview, the Dragon Ball manga artist, Toyotaro, had a nostalgic conversation about the best fights in the Dragon Ball franchise. This topic was related to a certain fan poll made about the best Dragon Ball fights. In the interview, Toyotaro said excitedly that he will create many more action scenes in the future. He also stated that the Dragon Ball Super story is far from over. The Dragon Ball Super manga went on hiatus after the release of Chapter 103. This chapter was released shortly after the author's deaths, and the manga hiatus was officially declared by the publisher Shueisha after that. Chapter 103, which was titled, quote, "A Legacy for the Future," end quote, featured a training session between Gohan and his father, Goku. The father and son showed the fruits of their individual training in their fight. Goku found enormous growth in Gohan, especially because Gohan managed to land a clean hit on Goku's stomach. After that, Gohan fought Broly, who was admiring their fight from afar. In this fight as well, Broly managed to surprise everyone with his growth. However, his control over the power didn't seem as perfect as Gohan's. Meanwhile, Vegeta, who was watching from outside, decided to join the sparring session and chose to fight Gohan, who was very happy to see the sudden interest everyone was showing in him. Several people joined this battle, including Goku, and it ended up becoming a general fight, which ended up destroying the planet they were on. The chapter ended on a carefree note after everyone gathered and had dinner together. After eating the dinner prepared by Limo, the group fixed the damage they caused and decided to return home. This marks the manga's hiatus itself. But the subject is about the anime itself, and consequently the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime is not just the continuation of a beloved story, but a strategic move within a global market heated by streaming platforms, nostalgic fandom, and renewed appreciation of iconic intellectual properties. Since the anime's end in 2018 with the Tournament of Power, many things have changed both inside the Dragon Ball universe and outside of it. The series continued in manga form, advancing considerably in terms of narrative, characters, and power scale, while fans waited patiently, or not, for an animated adaptation that would finally do justice to the latest material. Now, this return is not just about picking up where it left off, but about adapting 3 major arcs: the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Moro arc, the Granola the Survivor arc, and the Gas and Frieza's resurrection in his deadliest form yet, Black Frieza, and of course Gohan in his beast form. The first expected impact is narrative. Dragon Ball Super ended with the universe saved by the strategic sacrifice of Android 17 and the selfless wish of 17 and Goku to Xeno-sama. The anime delivered top-level action, a multiversal scale, and introduced figures like Jiren, top, and the gods of destruction themselves, but left out what would become the most mature and significant evolution of Goku and Vegeta. The manga, by adapting the subsequent arcs, introduced elements that transformed not only the protagonists, but the very power structure of the Dragon Ball universe. Starting with the Moro arc, which will be the first adapted, we have an unexpected turn in the story's direction. Moro is a villain who breaks the conventions established after the Tournament of Power. Instead of a warrior from another universe or a god of destruction, he is an ancient criminal, an entity that devours planets and vital energy, who had been sealed for centuries by the Galactic Patrol. The very inclusion of the Patrol as a central organization is a nod to the universe expansion that Super had been hinting at, but had never truly explored. Jocko, who before was a kind of comic relief, becomes one of the connecting points between the Earth warriors and the cosmos threatened by Moro. Moro's strength is not only in his physical brutality, which he also possesses, but in his predatory nature. He represents a return to the kind of mystical villainy of characters like Dabura and Babidi, but elevated to a cosmic level. He consumes vital energy, rejuvenates, and becomes increasingly powerful by absorbing the strength of the worlds he passes through. Against this, Goku and Vegeta are forced to evolve in unprecedented ways. Goku begins training with Miras, an angel disguised as a patrolman, and Vegeta heads to the planet Yardrat, seeking a new approach to his power. This arc brings two central impacts to the Dragon Ball mythology. The first is the deepening of the divine hierarchy with the revelation that there are severe rules for angels, including the rule of not directly interfering in the mortal world, a law that Miras ends up breaking to save Goku, sacrificing his angelic existence. The second is the introduction of the Force-Spirit separation technique learned by Vegeta, which allows him to dismantle fusions or absorptions, a strategic counterpart to the direct fighting style he has always adopted. This marks an important turning point in his character. He not only evolves as a warrior, but accepts alternative paths to brute power. At the end of the arc, Goku finally masters, even if imperfectly, the complete Ultra Instinct. The final fight against Moro on planet Earth is one of the most epic in the manga, with Goku assuming an almost divine posture. But the most striking impact comes when he, for the first time, allows himself to be a symbol of justice, and not just a warrior seeking strong opponents. The scene where he offers a last chance for Moro's redemption, only to then see the Earth almost destroyed by this mistake, shows subtle maturity. Goku is still Goku, but begins to understand the weight of his decisions. The next arc, the Granola the Survivor arc, is even denser because it completely changes the perception of the Saiyans as heroes and puts Goku and Vegeta in confrontation with the sins of their own people. Granola is the last survivor of the planet Cereal, destroyed by Frieza and the Saiyans under his command. The narrative revolves around a wish made to the Cereal Dragon Balls, where Granola sacrifices part of his life expectancy to become the most powerful warrior in the universe. The concept is bold, absolute power in exchange for lifespan, something that directly contrasts with Goku and Vegeta's training path. This arc introduces the Heaters, a family of intergalactic merchants who take advantage of chaos to profit, and who become more complex antagonists than they initially seem. Through them, we learn the concept of manipulating fights for economic and political control of the universe, something very rare in Dragon Ball, which usually sticks to physical or cosmic threats. They are the ones who manipulate Granola to seek revenge, and also betray Frieza to achieve their own goals. The narrative depth of this arc lies in the clash of identities. Granola hates the Saiyans, but is forced to fight alongside Goku and Vegeta when he realizes the truth about the destruction of his people. And Vegeta, in this context, shines like never before. He accepts his past, understands Granola's pain, and in one of the most impactful scenes in the manga, takes responsibility for the Saiyan people's sins, not as something he personally committed, but as a legacy he carries and must face. This culminates in the most significant transformation of the character since Super Saiyan, the Ultra Ego. Ultra Ego is the counterpart to Ultra Instinct. While Instinct seeks emotional emptiness, detachment, and perfect fluidity, Ultra Ego is pure affirmation of pride, pain, and destruction. It is the ideal form for Vegeta, who has always fought with the weight of responsibility and the fury of his past. This form not only changes his appearance, with purple eyes and a destructive aura, but redefines how Vegeta approaches his battles. He is no longer trying to be like Goku. He is, finally, himself. The conclusion of this arc is bitter. Gas, the most powerful of the Heaters, also makes a wish to become the strongest, and becomes an obsessed monster. The fight against him is brutal and emotional, pushing everyone to the limit. And when everything seems resolved, we are surprised by the return of Frieza, not just alive, but now in his Black Frieza form, acquired after 10 years of training in a hyperbolic time chamber. In seconds, he defeats Gas and humiliates the transformed Goku and Vegeta. The message is clear. The power game has shifted once again. This return of Frieza is a watershed moment. If before he was an iconic villain and later an occasional enemy, now he is a real threat. Intelligent, strategic, and dangerously powerful. Black Frieza represents the return to terror, but with the sophistication that the modern series demands. He is not just strong, he is political, cunning, and seems to understand better than anyone how to use the heroes against themselves. He can infiltrate alliances, manipulate conflicts, and above all, waits for the right moment to act. He is, perhaps, the greatest villain Dragon Ball has ever had in terms of ongoing impact. The adaptation of these arcs into the anime promises much more than just stylized action scenes. The expectation is that the studios will not only animate the existing content, but expand it with additional content, more detailed flashbacks, unseen scenes, and possibly more development for characters that the manga treated more sparingly. Goten, Trunks, Pan, and even Broly might get room to shine in the anime, especially if the studio decides to recontextualize some events based on the superhero movie. By the way, the impact of the Dragon Ball Super anime return goes far beyond the content itself. The streaming industry is living a golden moment for anime, with platforms like Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Disney Plus investing heavily in exclusives, simultaneous dubs, and global distribution. A successful return of Super could mean millions in revenue, licensed products, episode sales, views, and direct influence on the publishing market. It also rekindles interest in the franchise's classic catalog, boosting remakes, like the possible Dragon Ball Z1, and spin-offs like Daima. From the fandom perspective, there is a whole generation that grew up with the Dragon Ball Super Goku, and that will experience these arcs animated for the first time as their direct continuation. The chance to see Ultra Instinct mastered, Ultra Ego emerging with Vegeta's pain, and Black Frieza breaking everyone's pride is something that transcends nostalgia. It is the evolution of a saga that never stopped, but is now ready to show its maturity. This new cycle is, above all, a golden opportunity to redefine what Dragon Ball means in a modern context. It is no longer just about who is stronger, but how these characters face the consequences of their actions, their stories, and their destinies. Goku and Vegeta remain the central axis, but now share the stage with a constellation of figures representing different parts of this vast universe. Granola, the Heaters, Frieza, Miras, the Patrolmen, the Yardrats, the Angels, and the Gods. The anime's return is not just an adaptation. It is the consecration of a new era. If everything is done with the care and investment the franchise deserves, we will have more than epic battles animated with care. We will have a milestone in the very history of anime. A turning point where Dragon Ball stops being just a childhood memory or a symbol of perseverance and becomes, once again, a protagonist of the present.